Now, when Saturn goes into the 8th house from Ketu, which means Ketu is in the 6th house from Saturn. So this is the 8-6 placement. This is one of the most tough placements between Saturn and Ketu. Most of the placements between Saturn and Ketu are really tough, but this is a really, really tough one. Why? Saturn has gone into the 8th house from Ketu. 8th house is the house of obstructions, challenges, problems, fights, sudden fires, sudden issues because of which you have to put in utmost effort, because Saturn has gone into the 8th house, to be able to overcome the challenge, to be able to handle it, to be able to extinguish the fire, to be able to contend with the suddenness of the issue. Ketu is a planet of denial, which means however hard you try to overcome the obstruction, overcome the challenge, to put out the fire, it will be very, very tough for you. So this is sometimes a person goes through an accident, develops a health ailment, and however hard you try, however, I've seen people go through 3, 4, 5, 6 surgeries with this placement, and yet they are not cured. The chronic pain, the challenge, the problem remains with them. Sometimes I've seen people get into the loan and debt cycle, and try as they might, they are not able to come out of it. Sometimes I've seen with this, they get into a relationship, a hidden relationship which may be even based on infidelity, an affair. However hard they try, they are not able to come out of it, or if they are able to come out of it, they face scandals, they face bad name, they face challenges. This could also mean that if you get into an addiction, try as you might, you may not be able to come out of it. So the worst addiction with this is either addiction of pornography or addiction of liquor, alcohol, to some extent even smoking. But this is a tough one. If you get into any of these addictions, you may end up with a sexual disease, intrauterine disease, or it may also maybe become more chronic. The disease may be also be connected to those which doctors are not able to identify and cure. So maintaining your hygiene, maintaining your health, avoiding any sudden decisions, not driving very fast, not overeating, really taking very good care of yourself, because the 8th house is also called the Randra Bhava. It is also the house of death, depth, mysteries, secrets, going deep down and extracting information, extracting results. So which means you have to go really deep down to be able to extract results of any house that you're working with. So any career that you do where you require analysis, going deep down, insurance, wealth management, IT, working on the print media, working in front of the camera, all these which are related to the 8th house, you'll have to work 10 times more harder to be able to get success. I found people who are actors, they act in a movie, suddenly the movie is not released. They act, or they have a role of 10 minutes, they find with all the editing, the role is reduced to 2 minutes, or somebody else takes the credit over them. So this is really a really tough placement. You really have to work your hard, bend your back, and you keep facing obstruction. You keep facing challenges. Something keeps obstructing you to grow. Something keeps obstructing you to rise. Something keeps obstructing you not to get gain. So this is really a tough one. Now, because of Saturn being 8th from Ketu, Ketu is in the 6th house from Saturn. 6th house is the house of gaining from service. So however hard you try to overcome obstruction, then to be able to gain from your service, you are denied. Ketu is a planet of denial, of negation. Ketu absorbs the energy of the planet and the sign and the planet of the house that it is placed in. So this is surely a very tough placement where you are just not able to get the gains wherever Saturn is placed 8th from Ketu. So if Saturn is in the 2nd house, Ketu is in the 2nd house, and Saturn goes into the 9th house. So gaining from education, the livelihood, the money, the increments is almost denied to you. So be patient, persevere, work hard and try to give back to society. Don't think so much about the efforts of labor, and try and avoid suddenness issues, chronic ailments, chronic habits, bad addiction, and keep yourself safer than being sorry.